everyone, Karen the Warp Spinster here. Thanks for joining me today and spending some time with me. I went through my the drawers next to my sewing table here, or cutting table, and tried to start organizing things that I've just been throwing in drawers or boxes or bags as I'm doing these videos. And it was well past time that I should have been doing that. I still have some other stuff to do, but the drawers over here are finished anyway. And in the process, I found these, which haven't been buried for very long. These are some pieces left over from the log cabin wonkifications. And so my drawers to the left of me now have strips of brights, and there's one gray, and then strips of black and white, and strips of white, plus some bright scraps. So I thought, though I had actually planned to do something on wonkification of rail fence, triple rail fence. And it was something different, which we'll maybe do at some point. But I thought when I ran across these, that would be kind of interesting to do that as a rail fence. And I could use up these scraps then, which would be nice. Plus all of I already have strips already cut. So I could add some more onto it, and maybe we'll think of some funky things to do in between. So it's still going to be triple rail in that there will be 3 of these units, but I think I want something in between, and this is me, so it will probably be a black and white stripe, at least to start out. Now, it wouldn't look bad if I just did these and then had, say, 3 triple rails going, or 3 triple rails, 3 rails going that way, etc. So it's just alternating, going horizontal and vertically. But I think I maybe want to try it with some stripes in between. In fact, let me just pull something out here and we'll fake it to see what we think. So there's one stripe in between. That will probably end up being more narrow, of course, but let's just see how it goes. Well, that's definitely got to be more narrow. And I think I want the black and white stripe to be pretty narrow, don't you? And then that adds a little something extra. And I have 3 different widths of stripes. I really need to order some more stripes again. I'm using them up quite a pace. I think that will add a little something to it. So, just as an arbitrary thing, this is my shortest piece, so that's how long they're going to be. At least going this way for the first one. And will these exactly match each time? I don't know. We'll see what happens. First of all, I'm going to trim this one down. Then I'm going to do a couple thin strips of this. I will sew those 3 pieces together and then come back. And this is fairly kind of random how I'm putting these together, except that these 2 are reading lighter, so I'm going to put the darker one in the middle, which will be framed by the lighter ones. We'll see. Just a couple mid-episode notes. I trimmed, I don't remember which one it was now. One of them was very much too wide, this one I think, and I trimmed some off. Now I have a narrow white strip to use on another one. Hey, am I thinking ahead or what? Not really. And this one can also be trimmed more narrowly, and I now have this little piece left over, and who knows what will happen with that. But I trimmed these 3 down to the same length, and now I'm going to insert these, but this is a pre-cut strip that I had, but I can cut it in half. I may be able to cut it smaller than that, actually, but I'm going to go for half at the moment. And then I can use those in between. And I may decide I want them more narrow, although they're going to end up being just half an inch. We'll see. Somehow I feel that there's going to be a lot of interrupting the original plans on this one. So I put a narrow strip in between these two. And now this looks sort of triple rail-y to me already. So what if I put another strip on the side of this, and that becomes the alternating piece? I think I'm going to try that. We'll see how it goes. Then, of course, this is going to have to be trimmed down, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. All right. I actually like this, but I think I would like to maybe see a little more variation in the width of these strips and the white strips, and maybe have some at an angle. I'm also not going to worry. I'm going to do a whole row of these, and I'm not going to worry if the next row down here matches up. So the piece that I have going vertically here may well not be that long. And the piece that's going horizontally here may be longer than this. So I'm just going to do a row at a time and put them together and see what happens. I'll do a short row. 2 short rows, and then we'll see how that looks before I get too involved in it. So now I have this piece, and I will, you know, I could make this a really short one, couldn't I? Just for some variety here. So that I use up all these scraps. And maybe when I do the second row down here, it won't be right up next to this. Maybe it will be, we'll have some kind of sashing in between or something. So I think I am going to do this as a short one. I may find out that I don't like it, but I'm going to do it right now anyway. And this one's going to be trimmed down for sure. And I do want them, all of them in the row, to be even here. I have a short row of 3 now, and I'm thinking we could make this into a triple rail 9 patch or something. So now I'm going to work on this row, and I'm going to try an angle or 2 on these pieces. And I think maybe I will try it on vertical piece, maybe horizontal piece. I think I'm seeing it as horizontal, so I'm going to do it on a horizontal piece. I'll start out with the vertical piece, and I'm trying to remember that I do not need to make these match up. So I have a little bit left here, and then I have some offcuts from trimming some of these. I think I'm liking it with the black and white stripe. I might prefer to have them narrower than they are here, but it's all right to have some variety. This one can just be cut somewhere. Let's see, this one is going to be a vertical, so it will be just 1. So on the horizontals, I'm doing 2 brights, 1 black and white, or 1 stripe. And then on the verticals, it's 1 bright, 2 stripes. So this one will be vertical. Oh, that'll be in the middle, and I'll have 2 stripes next to it. I keep trying to match those up. That's not my goal here. And then I will come back and see what I'm going to do about a angled strip. I'm having trouble with words today. I'm going to do an angled strip here with one of the strips that I rescued from the drawers yesterday. Row 2 is finished with one diagonal in there, and I like having the occasional angled. I don't think I want to do it every one or every other one, maybe not even any row. I am beginning to like the idea of a 9-patch, triple rail 9-patch. And it will be not necessarily an even square, but it will have squared off sides, 90-degree angles on the sides. I'm going to go somewhat rigid for me on this one, and I'm liking it. It's just a really simple concept, but I like the dynamics of the stripe. I feel like they might get a little overwhelming, so in between there might be some sort of sashing or something. This one's a little wide to me, I think, but I think it's all right. What do you think? I think maybe it's okay. Let me know what you think you would do differently. I have another row to do here, and again, it's going to alternate. And then we'll see what happens with the 9-patch. Here is our third row. I'm almost wondering if I want to switch those out. I don't like having these match up though. Because this one's a little lighter overall. And I wonder if it might not be better framed by the darker. I think I'll go with this. The other thing I think I will do is probably sew these together and then put it on Procreate, in Procreate, whatever, and see how they would look when they're all arranged. It will look like the same thing, but I'll arrange it differently and we'll see how it is. Doing an awful lot of pausing when I'm speaking today. You know, I taught myself to not say all the time, and now I just have long pauses instead of uhs. I think I like this. One more thing I would like to show you before we say goodbye today. Sorry about the sun filtering through. I'm doing this later in the day than I usually do. If you remember, we started out with this block a couple of weeks ago, was it? Last week, a couple of weeks ago. And I did a little more of the embroidery here. If I could move that out of the sun. Sorry, I have no shade on that window, my bay window. And I like that one. And then I did another one. And another one. And then I did 3 more that I finished up today. Different sizes and fabrics. These are all Cafe from Free Spirit. These are, no, it's not true. I was going to say, I did get some fat quarters of Cafe fabric. That's an older collection that I like, but I'm using that for another project. I'm going to be teaching my Roots and Branches class at a nearby quilt shop, and I'm going to use that as the sample for one of the samples for the class, perhaps some of my step-by-step samples. So anyway, here we have a bunch of blocks. which I think is a lot of fun. I did have these arranged so it looked, you know, reasonable at some point, but naturally it's not going to look that way now, but it's way too much of all that color together, for sure. But you get the idea. And they'll be arranged in different ways. Well, not different ways, but they'll be arranged differently than this, let's say that. And I plan to make more of them. See, I'm getting quite a bit of pink going on here. Fair amount of green. So I love this combination of pink and sort of this seafoam color. That actually turns out to be the palette that I'm going to be using in a class I'm taking from Sheila Frampton Cooper. So it's nice that I like it here too. That is my update on this, and I am making my way through it. I've actually, when I did my organizing, I actually made a bin for this. Isn't that something? Every time something goes into a bin, I give something in a bin to a friend of mine. So I'm still cleaning out my studio, but I'm getting there. One more place to clean out up here, and then I'm ready to go and make a mess again. Currently, I'm making a mess with this. No, this is organized. And I really am liking this a lot. I just love these colors and having, of course, the black and white stripes in there. So it bears repeating. Is going to have some repeating going on. That will be it for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Next week, I'm not sure. I have another idea for a triple rail fence. So we may try that idea out next week unless something else comes up in the meantime. I hope I will see you then. In the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.